Welcome back, business crew. Last time we spoke about search engine optimization. Now, that assumes that you have a website. This chat, this time around, what I wanted to discuss is websites, and in particular, I want to convince you of the importance of having a website. It doesn't matter what business you have. It really does not matter what business you have. I'm telling you that you must have a website. And in this program, or in this edition, I will discuss with you and I will argue my point about the importance of having a website. I remember in about late 90s, 2000s, I was only very young then, and I started an education business, a tutoring agency. And very early on, I had a website. I made my own website. I've always made my own websites. But I remember those days when, that's when we had the internet, the technology bubble, the technology craze. Everyone was supposed to make $1 million if they had a website and so forth, and people were buying out domain names and so forth. I remember then, when people were saying, oh, you need to get a website, and you'll make lots of money, your business is a website, if you have a website you'll make millions of dollars, you'll access the global market, blah blah blah. I never believed that. To me that was just hype. Nevertheless, even in those days, I always believed that a business should have a website. As a result, I was one of the first businesses, one of the early adopters, and I had a website. And I'll tell you what, and I was really, really, really happy that I did have the website. Okay, let's start off with the most important, cash. Websites do not need to cost you much. In fact, they don't cost much at all. To have a domain or to have a web presence, you need to have a domain name. Now, domain names can cost you as little as roughly about $20 for 2 years. That's $10 per year, okay? Pretty much all of us have internet access. So we obviously need to have internet access. We need to have some kind of internet plan, because when we have a website, we'll need to upload the stuff. We also need to log in to it's called a control panel, just so we can look at the statistics and so forth. So you need internet access, which pretty much we all have. Okay, so you have that anyway. You'll need to pay for a domain name. You'll need to so domain name registration is about $20. You'll need to have internet access, and then there's hosting. In other words, you need to have like probably the best way to explain it is to put your website to have a real estate, an online real estate. Okay, so your website, your domain name, the actual name, www, whatever it may be, in this case www.businesscrew.com, that's your name. Okay, and you need to actually have a presence, and that's called hosting. That may cost you, once again, that could cost you easily below $100 per year. Okay, so to be physically able to have a website, that's like $100 per year. Okay, so very manageable for anybody, I believe. Then you need to actually create the website. So in other words, we're constructing a website. So it's like you've got your address, you've got your plot of land, now you need to build on it. Okay, so there are two ways, there are two options when it comes to building. You can build it yourself, or you can get an outside company to build it for you. Obviously, if you get the outside company to build it for you, that's going to cost you considerably more. Or you can build it yourself. I've always built my own websites. There are programs which are created for that specific purpose, and a lot of them are quite easy to use. Why? Because the business of the companies who make these programs is to make these programs as popular as possible. For them to be as popular as possible so they can sell more of these programs, is to make them as intuitive, as user-friendly as possible, and to provide as many options as possible, which are nice and simple to use. So these programs are quite easy to use. I've always had a lot of fun with them, and so forth. Now, there are two options with the programs. You can buy them, or there are other ways of accessing them. Okay, I'll let you work that out yourself. If you're buying them, it's going to cost you about a couple of $100, $200, $300, depends what sort of programs. You can access them through friends. They can lend you copies, or you can download sample versions, trial versions, or there are other means which obviously is a sensitive topic. And you can access it for free. So they're the options. But look, let's just say that you're going to use the official version. You're going to buy it, $300, $200, $300, maybe $400, whatever. Once you buy that, that's it. That's yours, and that'll last you for years and years. Even though there are going to be updated versions, with little extras and little bonuses and so forth. But once you buy the version and you make the website, you'll be running with it for years. Okay, so it's going to be about $400. If you get somebody to build the website for you, well, that could cost you in the thousands. Okay, depending what sort of business you have. If you have a typical, just a normal standard business, you're not like an eBay or something like that. If you just have a normal website, you want about us, home, about us, maybe a little catalog or a menu or photos or contact us, whatever. I mean, yeah, you really don't need anyone to build that for you. You can very easily do it. I can do it for you, okay, at a very reasonable price. These things aren't really difficult at all. If you want to attach e-commerce to the site, well, yeah, that's going to be a little bit more complex, and you may need to outsource that particular component to somebody else. But anyway, overall, if you're going to do it yourself, it's not going to be that difficult. Okay, it's not going to be that difficult. It's not going to be that costly. There are two reasons why, maybe three, maybe four. I'll just work them out now as I go with you. Why I do it myself. Number one, it's cheaper. Number two, for me, I find it to be a lot of fun. Okay, a lot of fun. I'm learning the programs, and it's one of these skills. It's like a language. Once you get to learn it, you can apply it. You can experiment with it. You can build the websites. You can construct the website and do add-ons to the website, make it really interesting over time. As you learn, you can do more and more things. So I found that to be very interesting. And the other thing is, I've got total control over it. That's probably the main one. Okay, that's probably the main. Let's just say I had heaps and heaps of cash. Well, maybe not heaps and heaps, but let's just say I had a fair bit of cash, and I was to outsource the website, okay, to somebody else. That's cool. Yeah, I can do that. But then again, if there's something I'm not happy with the website, you got to call them. You got to tell them what it is. They might not do it straight away. You might have to pay extra. Or if you want to add on a new service or a new product, there's something. If there's something, there's a special on promotion on. You're always relying on another party. Whereas if you do it yourself, it's at your fingertips. You can just do it. It's like having a wardrobe of clothes. They're your clothes. Depending what the weather is, you think, oh well, weather, or yeah, I'll have this. Oh no, the weather's changing. I'll change my clothes. So you can just do it like that. Just go to your wardrobe and just get the clothes that you want, adapted to whatever weather is like. Or you go for a jog, you're sweaty, you come back home and you just change your clothes. Same with this. If you're making your website, you've got total 100% control over it. If you don't like something, if you get bored of it, if someone makes a comment about it, someone gives you a suggestion, if there's something changes, pricing, whatever, you can just do it that night. Okay, that's the main thing. All right, so that's that. Now you might think, well, look, I run a cafe. What do I need a website for? Or I might have some business, I don't know, a milk bar or a convenience store of some sort. And you think, well, I don't really need a website. Well, let me convince you otherwise. Firstly, don't just link website sales. Sure, by having a web presence, you've got access to lots of customers from all different places. If you have a local shop, a local convenience store, well, obviously it's no big deal, it's of no value to you that somebody from a completely different country or different continent is going to access your store. I mean, that's obviously a big deal. So you might think, well, I don't need that because I don't need to access the people. Let me give you a couple of examples. When I started my education business, which was A1 Tuition, I still have the website up there, but I just haven't, that it's an old school website. I've just left it there for historical reasons. Okay. That business was quite a comprehensive business. I had a whole heap of pricing structures because I charged different prices for primary school students, different prices for early high school, for last 2 years of high school, first year university, second university, third year university level, different prices. Plus I also provided discounts if people prepaid. So they prepaid in advance, they bought a certain amount of hours, like 10 or 20, 25, that reduced their rate. So I had all these tables of prices rather than just one, okay? Well, I mean, I knew what the standard prices were, but then obviously as part of the conversation with the client, I obviously wanted to say to, wanted to get their sale, and if they said, well, that's quite expensive, or I may need a lot of lessons, so I also wanted to go through and give them the discount options too. So that's issue number one. I could obviously run through all that with the client over the phone, but the client's not going to remember everything, and the client at that stage may also be doing inquiries at the moment. Okay, so by having a website there, I always said to them, during the conversation, listen. If you have access to the internet, this is going back 10, 15, 20 years ago, I said, if you've got access to the internet, go to the website www.a1tuition.com.au and have a look in there. Have a look what our prices are, have a look what our prepayments are, have a look at what our services are, and so forth. That's the other thing. I also provided a number of services. I started from tuition, from private tuition, and then over the years I expanded. We produced books, educational books, we ran revision classes, with the tuition we had different types of tutors, and undergraduate, graduate, teacher, academic. You might be thinking, what's the difference? Well, that's what I'm saying. I can explain that over the phone. But I also provided a write-up, our tutors, so it had what the different categories of tutors were, what the criteria was for each tutor. So then the client was able to have a read, bring their husband or wife or maybe the kids and have a look and see, this type of tutor, you know what I mean? So they were able to have a look at what type of tutor, what qualifications were appropriate for their purpose, for their child, and also they looked at the rates, because the different tutors had different rates. I obviously, for a university student, I charged a different price than I charged for a university professor, because I also employed them as well. So that was all on the website. So whilst I was able to provide general advice, also more specific advice over the phone as well, once a person told me what they wanted, I could run through everything. But once again, because there were so many variations, it would have been best if the mum or dad or the child, if the student went to the website, were able to have a look at it in their own time. So it's effectively like a menu, okay? So imagine that you're a restaurant, okay, and somebody is considering to have not a party, but maybe it's like an anniversary, or maybe it's like they have an anniversary, they want to go out for dinner, they want to invite a few friends, or maybe it's somebody's birthday and they want to go to a restaurant with a couple of close friends, and so they're looking for a local restaurant, and they just want to see what kind of menu is on offer. Sure, they can obviously drive their car and go to the local restaurant and just have a menu or speak to the person there, or they can do it in the convenience of their own home, and they can just type in like restaurant in the local area, and it'll give them and it'll provide the list of the different restaurants. Okay. So if you're running a restaurant, once again you might think, well, what do I need a website for? No one's going to come from a different state or city or town or or country or continent. I'm not going to make much sales. That's okay. The website in this case is to provide information. So like I was able to provide information to my potential clients, and because I was able to provide a good amount of information, the information that I was able to provide, my pricing was excellent. I had a really good variety of tutors. I really had something to sell, right? I just needed to inform my customers about that. So the website was there. So even though they might have contacted me by phone, right? And I'm not saying that I sourced the clients from the website. I might have sourced them from another source of advertising, but having them over the phone, I was able to give them the basics and then send them off to the website. Now, two things. Number one, it saved me a lot of time, because if I was to go through everything with the client, about half an hour, okay? So imagine 5 clients times half an hour, that's 2.5 hours gone just over the phone, repeating the same stuff over and over again, right? Or spend 5 minutes and then send them off to the website where they can do it in their own time. It's nice and transparent, all the information is there, particularly if you've got something really good to sell, something really good to promote. You can obviously provide that on the website, and that is going to give them, that's going to give you more credibility. It'll give them more information, and it'll allow them to make a more informed purchase decision, and chances are that purchase decision will be a positive one, particularly if you've got something really good. Like I said, I had so many different options, so many pricing and stuff like that. Practically 95% of the people who called me just to make an inquiry became my customers. So the website is really good for that. Hey, but that's peanuts, that's nothing. I also recruited tutors. I also recruited people as my tutors, and I had certain criteria. Okay, as I said to you, I employed undergraduates, graduates, teachers, and academics. Okay, each of these categories had a certain criteria that needed to be met. Plus, I also wanted to provide them a job description. I didn't want time wasters. Time wasters aren't good for the people applying. Time wasters aren't good for me. So, what did I do? I had an employment section, and the employment section was very detailed. It provided the criterion, so then once the person, whoever it was, they basically knew, okay, this is what sort of criteria I fit in. Okay, yes, I'm eligible, and then I gave a rundown of what they could expect, how it worked, just to give them an idea what my business as a service provided to them. Because I had 2 customers. I had customers who paid, and I had customers who were my employees. They were my customers too, because I provided them employment services. I recruited them, I employed them. So in order to get the best quality, the best quality talent, I needed to give them a good offer, really. I needed to provide them the right environment, the right conditions, the right circumstances. And so I think I did. And as a result, I certainly wasn't embarrassed to put that across. And so I gave them a job description and a description of what they could expect. So that way they had a realistic job expectation, and so they knew. They had a better understanding of what they were getting into. For some people, that might not have been applicable. They might have thought, oh, it's not for me. For others, they thought, oh, yeah, this is for me. And then below that, I created these online application forms. I had an undergraduate one, graduate, teacher, and academic. So once they knew what category of tutor they were eligible for, once they got some information about what they could expect, if they were happy with that, then they submitted the appropriate application form. This was a killer of a time saver for me. It really was, because when I did recruiting during certain times of the year. I recruited maybe 10 people. Well, over a month I might have recruited 30 different people, right? So I sent out employment advertisement to different places, so I could get people on board before the start of the academic year. So I had heaps and heaps of phone calls. So once again, as with the clients, with the applicants, I wanted to give them the best sort of experience, the initial experience. I wanted it to be positive. So obviously I wanted to provide them with information, how we work, who we are, what we do, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of this was just repetitive. Because what we do, who we are, how long we've been in business, how we operate, it doesn't matter who rings. These things are just standard, right? So once again, I could spend half an hour talking to them, or I could just spend 1 minute and say, hi, thanks for your application. Look, I'd love to talk to you, but you need to fill in an online application form anyway. So the best thing for you to do is just go to our website. On the website, you'll see an employment link. Click on the employment section. That'll give you a rundown, who we are, what you can expect, what what categories of tutors we employ, and there's an online application form which comes straight to us. So you can do it today, tomorrow, tonight, do it in your own time. Everything you need to know will be there. Obviously the about us section will be there, and perfect. So even if this person rang from a mobile phone or wherever it was, they didn't waste a lot of time talking to me. I didn't waste a lot of time with them, because they got all the information they needed on the website. So that saved me so much time. It was just unbelievable. So that in itself was absolutely fantastic. So even if I was not going to talk about my goods or services, but if I strictly had an employment section, that in itself was worth $100. Easy. Because over the years, over the many years that I was employing the tutors, I saved myself dozens and dozens of hours just by diverting people. As well as I had the application forms were done online, so I could go in and have a look at my email and just see who's applying, and just give them and just invite them to an interview or give them a phone interview. So it was just a very automated process. That was really, really good. So if you employ people on a subcontractual basis or casual basis, whatever, that is really good. That's the website is another way that you can, when you're advertising for employees, that you're able to actually divert them to the website. That's going to save you heaps of time. Eventually, we began, like I said, I expanded the business. I then sold books, educational books. So what did I do? The website was also really, really good for me to provide samples, because these books, I provided hard copy, I printed books, but I also did a PDF version of the books, digital version. So the digital version was really good, number one, because I could sell them online. I could take orders online, I could sell them online. But the other thing, let's just say I didn't even do that. I just provided the sample. So I took the first couple of chapters of the book and put it online, and people were able to download it and then have a read of it. So that's the thing about a book, right? Particularly an academic book. You're not going to sit there and, it's like a magazine, you can flick through pages. A book, it's quite difficult to make an assessment which book is yours. So if you go to an academic store and you've got all these maths by 10 different companies, you're going to be thinking, oh, geez, I don't know. And you probably choose the book which has got the best cover, or maybe which is $5 cheaper. I mean, I don't know how you're going to choose, because you're not going to sit there and assess the book, particularly if you don't even know the subject yet, because you're buying it for the upcoming year. So by having, once again, I was very confident with my product. I did the accounting book and I did the economics book. So I was really confident with it. So I had no problems. In fact, I wanted people to read it, because I knew that if people read it, I used simple language, I explained things really well, I used colour as well. So I thought, I need to get it in their hands, because if I do, then they're going to buy it. So on the website, once again, I just put samples. People could just download it for free. So once again, if clients ever called and they said, oh look, I'm interested in doing accounting. So if they were in an area which I didn't service, because it was maybe a little bit too far for me, I would, or if I didn't have a tutor for maths or for English, whatever, and I just wasn't able to service them through our core tuition service, I said, look, as much as I'd love to help you, unfortunately, I can't, because I just don't have anybody there. It's a little bit too far. Look, at the moment, we can't help you there, but we would. So I said to them, the only realistic way I would be able to help you, and maybe you can still use our services but without having physical contact with the tutor, let's say accounting, is download or buy one of our study guides. Let's just say it's accounting. I said, look, it's like having me as a tutor, because I actually wrote the book. So the language, the way that I teach, the way that I explain accounting concepts, the examples I use when I'm physically with the student, it's pretty much how I do it in the book. Okay, so you've got me there in book form rather than physical form. So I said, that's an alternative for you. And most people said, oh, that's actually a good idea. And I said, well, I'll tell you what, I've got good news. Because before you actually buy the book, I don't want you to buy the book now blindly. I said to them, go to our website. You'll see a study notes section, says study notes. Okay, that's obviously where we start study notes. And when you've got the different subjects there, say you click on accounting, and then you'll be able to download a sample. Show it to your daughter, get your daughter or son to read it. If they like the language, if they think the language is nice and easy to read, yeah, fine. Call me back and I'll love to sell you the book. So I was never really into hard sell because I was just a good guy, because I knew that the service, well, firstly, financially I was well off. Well, not well off, but financially I was okay. So I didn't need to, buy more Bina because I need money, buy, look, yeah, this is the best book ever, buy it, buy it. If I buy two, I'll send you two straight away. Because I just, I didn't want to push, I didn't need to push, okay? So, but what I also found, by not being a hard sell, I found the reputation of my business was very good, because no one's stupid, particularly when it comes to spending money. Even the biggest idiot has got a bit of sense when it comes to this stuff. So the people on the other end of the phone, they basically thought, hey, I know because they actually told me. They said, wow, you're really, you seem really honest. I said, well, hey, I'm in education. I need to, yeah, well, yeah, thank you. Because I could have said to them, oh yeah, look, I'll sell you the accounting book now. But I said, look, I'll tell you what, just to ease my just to ease my concerns, go to the website, download it. I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty sure that your kids will be happy. But just in case, download it for free. Have a read of it if you like it, because it's very important. It's very important. Being someone who's studied for a lot of my life, I also know that. If you're going to buy an academic book, and if you're not going to read it, or if you're not going to understand, well, it's useless. It's a waste of money. Okay, so I obviously didn't want my products to be like that. So and also understand that different people's learning styles. People have different learning styles. Okay, so I knew that even there is no best possible book, because it might be the best possible book for you, but it might not be the best possible book for somebody else. So knowing that, I basically said, download it. It's not going to cost you anything. You'll download it in 30 seconds. Have a read of it. There's plenty of information there to get a feel for what I've written. Once you're happy with that, call me. I'll send it out to you. Okay? And that is, look, and that's, again, so the website was used for, well, once again, that's for information. And I found I got a lot of business out of that. Just not because people went to the website first and they thought, oh wow, I've never seen his business before. What a cool website, yeah, I'll buy stuff. No. I used traditional advertising. People contacted me through traditional advertising. I then pushed them over to the website to give them access to more information, to free products, to samples, and so forth. And then they came back to me a lot more confident, demanding my services, not just inquiring, but demanding the services. And it also enhanced my reputation as well. So that's the other reason. So in other words, you can use your website as a selling tool, because people will be attracted to your website, which means that you'll tap into a market, a larger market. You can make more sales. It's also good as an employment tool. It's a time-saving tool. Okay. It's also an informational tool as well. And the other thing, I also got some clients. Once again, this is going back with the education business. I also got some pretty large clients. I got contracts with government departments, like the Department of Human Services, and I got a contract. There was a couple of charities, what do you call it? Well, charities basically. For poorer people and stuff. Why is that? Because if you're running a government department, like you have a certain budget, right? And the government, like in this case, your Department of Human Services, and who else? And also I also had a contract with not Vic Roads. What are they called? Gee whiz. TAC, Transport Accident Commission. Oh, they were really good, and it's another government department. Anyway, so in government departments you've got bureaucrats, right? And they have a certain job to do. They need, we need to source, let's just say TAC, Transport Accident Commission. So in Australia or in Victoria, we've got, if there's a car accident and somebody gets injured, they basically get looked after by the Transport Accident Commission. And that's where our vehicle registrations, when we pay vehicle registrations, a lot of that actually goes, and fines, when people get fines for speeding, it goes to pay for Transport Accident Commission. They're basically a government department that's responsible to rehabilitate the people who are injured. And part of that rehabilitation is education. Because if there's a child or a student who has a car accident and he's in hospital for a couple of months and misses school, well, he's got to obviously make up for that. So as he's rehabilitating himself, as he's getting better, he's staying at home, right, he has tutors. So these bureaucrats might not know anything about tuition, might not know anything about education, but they are just, they have a particular role to do. They receive a budget and they're basically told, look, we need to, organise some, we need tutors for our students. How you do it, what you do, that's up to you, but make sure that you do it and do a good job. So they might think, gosh, where am I going to start? So usually they will start on the internet. Think about it like you do. When you're searching for something, whether it's a holiday, whatever, where are you going to go? Internet, right? So they go to the internet. So they might type in tuition, let's just say it's Melbourne, or Melbourne, tuition Melbourne, and they'll bring up a number of different websites. Because let's be serious. Well-developed, established, larger professional organisations will have a website. Mum and dad, maybe not, but a large, well-established will have a website. Okay, so a government department isn't going to be wanting to deal with a mum and dad. In this case, tuition has got mum's a tutor and dad. Mum teaches English and the dad, grandpa, whatever. The husband he does geography, or he does engineering or maths or physics. Right, just two of them. They need something big, right? I had about 60 different tutors. Right? So we serviced a lot of areas, we did a lot of subjects. So I had the website, a number of different tutoring agencies had a website. So what did these TAC do? They basically went through the websites, had a look, pretty good, this is pretty good, or, don't like this, for whatever reason. So they created a shortlist. Then they made contact, made further inquiries. We got a number of contracts over the years with different companies and so forth, just by that. Because they actually rang up by doing the internet search, and they did an internet search to look at the information, get to know the organisation, and the website also provides a bit of credibility with your services. And so I got a number of big contracts thanks to having a website. Okay, so one contract like that would have been worth maybe as much as 100 individual customers. So that's the other thing. You never know who's going to be, because most people do a lot of research. Internet they use research for. So imagine, you're the guy that might say, I've got a restaurant, I don't need a website. Wrong answer. Because imagine that you've got an editor or a researcher for the food and beverage section of a newspaper who wants to do a review of the local businesses. So where are they going to go? They're not going to drive their car and visit every single restaurant. They are going to do an internet search of the local area. You're going to come up, right, which is why you need to have information about what you do, who you are, provide a downloadable menu, price list, and so forth. So make yourself good. Then this researcher, this newspaper, whatever, my journalist will go in there. If they're doing a review of maybe Asian restaurants, or it might be restaurants that sell dinner, for under $20, or it could be Italian restaurants, or the best burger bars, whatever. I mean, it's endless, the possibilities are. So they are going to go and do an internet search from their office. They're going to do an internet search, and if you're not there, you're out of the game. You're not even included, right? Or if you do have a website and they do stumble upon you through one of the many different ways they can stumble upon you on the website, you might get a call, or you might get them coming in as a secret customer, secret client. And hey, you could find yourself in a good food guide. The food and beverage guide, good food guide, whatever your local food restaurant review website is. And that could be a major driver of business for you. One good review or one article, editorial about your business, bam, that's going to double, triple, quadruple, 5-tuple, 6-tuple, quadruple, whatever you want to call it, your business from that point on. Plus, as well as you'll be able to put it in your window and so forth. Just, you know what I mean? So for such a reasonably low price, $100 and something per year, you've got so many different opportunities that it doesn't matter what business you are. There are some businesses it's a must, like me with 69 tours. That's a tourism business. Of course I'm going to have a website for tourism business. Businesscrew.com, of course I'm going to have a business. But I understand some people who I've spoken to, they said, oh look, I only run a cafe. What do I need well, I'm telling you now what you need a website for. If you run a little, if you had a little retail store or something like that, you will need to have a website for some, it might not be, to make international sales or to get international recognition, but it may be for one or another reason of the reasons that I mentioned, plus more, at a reasonably low price. If the website was to cost you $5,000 and then $1,000 per year, I'd be making a pretty deep assessment, pretty hard assessment. But if it's only $100 something bucks, come on, it's a good investment, I believe. So look, tell me what you think. Tell me what your thoughts are about this. Tell me. I'm interested to know what kind of experience. If you do have a website, where most people do, just tell me something interesting that you've had coming up from your website, whether it's a big contract, whether you got contacted by the media, whether you contacted by the newspaper, what was it? I'm really, really interested to know. Like I said, I've been contacted by a number of different organizations. I've had contracts. My business was also in a newspaper or a magazine for mothers. Again, website. So speak soon. On the previous video, I spoke to you about websites and the importance of having a website. Well, what I'm going to do very soon, I'm going to actually, as part of the DIY, do-it-yourself, the DIY segment, I'm going to show you how to create your own website using a program which I use, Serif Web Plus, which I find to be an excellent program for making websites. I've made a number of websites using this program, like 69tours.com, businesscrew.com, and chistybuisk.pl, which, I'll write it down for you in the description below. So these are quite different sort of websites. Chistty Buisk and Business Crew, you'll see similarities there, but 69 Tours is obviously quite a different design and layout. So just to show you what type of how you can make your websites quite different and interesting. So that's going to be in the DIY how to make a website section, which I think you might find to be particularly useful if you don't have a website, or if you're not happy with your existing website but would like to make your own. I'll just show you how easy it is using this program. So just wait for it.